I love now, I really embrace birthday parties, and I was saying that I feel like it's a promise of more time with a loved one.
And I just noticed you no longer have a drink.
I don't drink. I don't drink. I haven't had a drink. December this year will be 2 years since I had a drink. But on the offset, it's just something that I felt was the right decision to make for myself. And it's the kind of thing where I could go back to it tomorrow or in a year or 10 years or never. I'm not putting any pressure on myself. But you know what's really interesting? Is even when you make a decision like that, it can be hard. Like everything has a hard.
So choose your hard.
You choose your hard. Choose your hard. I feel like somebody posted that quote the other day. If I can just pull it up. Yeah, it says here, marriage is hard, divorce is hard, choose your hard. Obesity is hard, being fit is hard, choose your hard. Being in debt is hard, being financially disciplined is hard, choose your hard. Indecision is hard. Trusting yourself is hard, choose your hard. The life I've lived this far, I feel like I've made decisions where I can compare what was life like with that decision and life without it. Because at the end of the day, when you're trying to build a discipline, it's hard. It doesn't come naturally to us, to people. You want things that come easy to you. If human beings were allowed to, we would just exist. We would just be there. And by the way, people who are not drinking, people who say are sober or celibate or clean, please stop asking them. There's some people who will ask somebody who stopped drinking, "Aye, Kwani, so you just have one drink." You know, you never know what they're trying to do to stop themselves from spiraling. So let them be. And it's not a flex. Me sitting here saying, I don't drink, it's not a flex. It's just a reality that I had to choose for myself. That was my hard.
And it's a sacrifice towards a certain goal.
There you go. It's a sacrifice towards a certain goal and towards a certain type of person that you want to be, that only you fully know. Like people know the demons they grapple with. No matter how much they say out there, a lot of it is within.
Because there's a stage in life that you feel you're not yourself.
What stage is that? Does it come with, is it just depending on the phase in life you're in?
Like, for example, when you become a parent, there are more responsibilities. So there are things you sacrifice and forgo for you to be able to be fully available for your new responsibility.
Exactly. So you choose your hard.
So you choose your hard.
Whatever you forego, maybe you didn't really want to, but you had to. But ultimately, it makes sense. Ultimately, you integrate it into your new life. But you've given such a good example. Parenting is hard. Being without child is hard. Choose your hard. If you've chosen to be a parent, understand that it will be, man, I always say parenting is hard. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's the most beautiful thing, but it's hard. So when you choose to be intentional, you've chosen that hard. It's all the other things that come with it, like what you said, Moss, the sacrifices you make, the compromises you make. And so I just feel like a life of choosing to forego certain things, man, it's a discipline. It's the way you build a muscle in a gym. You have to build that muscle every day, flex that muscle, and sometimes you fall back.
And maybe someone will ask you, how do you start?
Yeah, just start. How did you start? How do you make the decision to choose your hard?
Act as if.
That's really interesting. What does that look like? To act as if?
You know, you're setting your mind to get used to it. Like if you don't want to take sugar, you act as if you don't take sugar.
You already go with the mindset that I'm not taking sugar, I'm not taking a drink. Act as if.
And you see, when you say it to a friend, oh, you no longer take sugar, there's something that you feel like, I now don't take sugar.
That's true. I never thought of it that way. I like that form of discipline of acting as if. And one of the things I've struggled with, because guess what? People who are struggling with the hard they've chosen, it doesn't mean you'll always get it right. You may slip, try and jump back on the bandwagon. For me, a small example is the gym. Every time I start, something comes up and I'm forced to step back. And then I reprimand myself. The good thing is I've got equipment in the house, so I'm exercising to eventually build back to having a consistent rhythm in the gym. Because I travel a lot and then I feel so bad because I'm like, you set a goal. There's so many interruptions, but I reprimand myself. But I've chosen to say, what are the low-hanging fruits? And that's just one example. But the other one of sobriety, celibacy, no longer going towards the things that satisfied your flesh and your soul before, and choosing to forego, man, it's not easy. I can also reference faith, for people who are faith-based. I have my journey with faith, but I consider myself faith-based, and some of those decisions are also because of my faith and choosing to say, and by the way, faith is hard and not having faith is hard. Because having faith and deciding I'm going to choose the path of, say, a Christian, it is hard. And our flesh is tempted by everything. And now you're telling your flesh, no. Somebody said, your flesh will start throwing tantrums. That's exactly what happens. It wants the booze, it wants the sex, it wants all these things. And then suddenly you're like, no, this is not doing anything for my spirit anymore. And so I'm going to have to forego. It's not overnight. It takes a lot of exercising the mind and the soul and the spirit every day. And you might slip and go back and have that drink or see that person. But as long as you're determined and acting as if, which I really like, and saying, I'm determined that no matter what my life goal is to be sober, you'll get there, but it's hard. So choose your hard.